This video is brought to you by Hit Point Press and their animated spell cards. Hello and welcome to the Gallant Goblin. Today I'm really excited to finally show you the Galaxy Exploration Manual for Starfinder. Many thanks to Paizo for sending it to us to review. This 158-page book is going to be invaluable for anyone running homebrew Starfinder games. As the name implies, it really expands the exploration mechanics in the game from the galaxy level on down to hexcrawling on the surface of strange moons. If you want your games to feel a bit more like an episode of Star Trek where exploration and discovering the unknown are key to the story, then this is for you. If you want to be able to make your players really feel like they're exploring strange new worlds, this book will teach you how to do that. And if you're running published adventures, this book will make it much easier if your players go off the beaten course. And as I've discovered myself, when you're playing Starfinder, that happens a lot when the universe is at your fingertips. And this book provides a host of new player options and equipment for the 10 existing player classes, including 122 new class options, 100 gear options, 16 feats, 6 creature companions, 8 spells, and 2 vehicles. Finally, this book gives you resources to develop character backgrounds and team connections, which is especially helpful for new players, but useful for all of us. And it teaches you how to develop and run your own sandbox campaign, which is invaluable for all of us who want to write our own adventures. And if you want to take the rules out for a spin, the new Starfinder Adventure Path Horizons of the Vast lets you do that as you establish a new colony on a planet and explore the surrounding areas. Before we jump in, I just wanted to let you know that we're in the process of adding some new items to our merch store, including our own line of kobolds ready for some Starfinder-like adventures, including our little kobold envoy here. See all our merch over at gallantgoblin.com/shop. So now let's take a bit of a closer look at our Galaxy Exploration Manual. There are 4 main components of the book. First, we'll start with the player options. Of course, each of the 10 classes gets 2 pages of new class options each. For example, the biohacker gets 11 new theorems, the operative gets 15 new improvisations, and the mechanic gets 12 new mechanic tricks. Most of these try to focus on exploration activities like analyzing the environment and surviving in the wild. These new abilities are spread across all levels of play, so there should be something for everyone. There's also 15 new personal items like the arcanoscopic lenses and a helping hand floating table, 5 new grenades like the anti-gravity grenades and the mind spike grenades, 2 new medicinals and 4 new serums like the aquanaut elixir and the xenoform jelly. New player options are always welcome, and these are great because they generally stick to that exploration theme. So if that's important to the players in your game, maybe if you have a xenoarchaeologist or xenoseeker, for example, then having those new options available for them is going to be a big boon. But for me, the most exciting part of the tools they offer is those that help the player develop their character's background. And this is great for every player, especially new ones. Extensive role-playing tables or role tables are provided to help the players decide about the nature of their homeworld, a defining moment in their life, and an important relationship that they have. So for example, let's say that I rolled a D100 and I got a 42 3 times in a row. That would mean that I was from a planet that was harried by extreme environmental forces like hurricanes or volcanoes. It notes that these disasters could be natural, magical, technological, extraplanar, or signs of the gods' displeasure. You're going to have to work that out with your GM for all those details. And for the major event with the 42, I'm frequently mistaken for someone who looks like me, or vice versa. Maybe I have access to their wealth, or I've gained their enemies, or I'm the victim of identity theft, or maybe I've stolen theirs. And for my relationship with the 42, I know an eccentric storyteller who orates wild tales of adventure that they claimed happened to them in their youth, and maybe sometimes those stories are even true. So these are fantastic tools to either let the dice gods help you build your character or to inspire ideas for yourself. I love anything that helps new players build out their backstories, as in my experience, that's the hardest thing for new players to do. Finally, they've introduced a version of what I call the fiasco system of party relationship building, and I've been using this for a long time. There is a lengthy D100 table with loads of different types of ways of people might know each other. So you can use it to build your relationships between some or all of the characters in your party. I always use the fiasco method where a character has a pre-existing relationship with the person directly to their left and to their right. That means in games with at least 4 players, everyone is connected to each other, but sometimes not directly. Let's say I rolled that 42 again with the person on my left. That means, oh, here comes the person to my left. Tilly, you're not supposed to be on the table. But That means that we train together. Maybe we went to the same school or university, or maybe it was military training, or maybe we were even on the same sports team. What sport do you play, Tilly? She's not a sports person. Neither am I. All of the options are open-ended, so we can be creative in applying them to our characters. And with the person on my right, let's say I rolled a 70. That means that we were both arrested and falsely accused of the same crime. Maybe we were both in prison together or proved our innocence together. But we both hold a grudge on the person or institution that accused or condemned us. I just love this kind of stuff. Having these connections in a group gets that group cohesion going early, but it also helps further flesh out our individual characters. The next section of the book introduces our new exploration mechanics, starting off on the galaxy level, where you know there's a place that you want to find somewhere in the galaxy, but you have no idea where. The book gives you some research mechanics. Next, when you make it to the system, it's not quite as advanced as Star Trek, where you instantly know every planet or moon in the system. No, it takes some time, depending on what kind of sensors you have. And the book offers you a few new sensor upgrade options for this very purpose. So you get all those system scanning mechanics. Now, when you finally get into orbit, you can start scanning a planet to learn about its characteristics, including its technological level, if there are sapient species, its level of magic, the dominant biomes, atmosphere, gravity, etc. Now, if you're a GM and you're concerned about having all this information at your fingertips for any random planet your crew decides to visit, the book has you covered. But we'll get to that in chapter 3 here. Next, Tilly. Next, when you get to the landing area, the next level of exploration, the Galaxy Exploration Manual gives you the tools you need for the hexcrawling adventure as your team explores the immediate area around their ship, either on foot or in one of the many vehicles in Starfinder. There are also a ton of random encounter tables for the various kinds of biomes that they might be exploring. A lot of these mechanics will revolve around downtime activities, so they do take a significant amount of in-game time. Now, that third section of the book, it helps you as a GM build all those worlds that your players are going to be exploring, or maybe even the homeworlds of your player characters. And this chunk of the book is 80 pages long, so it's extremely robust. A good chunk of that real estate is devoted to the various biomes a planet may have. You've got airborne, aquatic, Arctic, desert, forest, marsh, mountain, plains, space, subterranean, urban, and weird. Each biome gets 4 pages that describe what the terrain is like, what it would feel like for the adventurers, what kind of vegetation would be there, what native inhabitants would be like, and how cultures would form in those areas. You get a little sidebar for each one, giving you some extra flavor, like what kind of musical instruments or celebrations they would develop in those kind of biomes. They even describe what a whole world of that biome would look and feel like. You get a section describing what adventurers from that kind of biome would be like, and they even point you to the rules in the core rulebook or other books that you might need to know if you're exploring or fighting in that kind of biome. Next, each biome gives you some tables that outline various Starfinder races and monsters that you might find there, and 20 little adventure hooks each to get your storytelling juices flowing. For example, on an Arctic planet or in an Arctic biome, maybe the PCs visit an ancient, expansive library in a sparkling glacial palace. There they learn about a newly discovered cavern that may contain lost secrets of the Gap, and numerous groups are trying to angle to gain permission to explore it, maybe including your PCs. Finally, each biome gives you new player options, including new weapons, armor, vehicles, feats, creature companions, or spells. There's enough info in these pages to tell an almost endless number of stories, but planets are more than just their environments. You get a couple of pages on a planet's accord, or how united or divided a planet is, and tons of adventure hooks based just on that. Plus info on organizations and leadership so that players can run their own organizations like guilds, crime syndicates, or the like. And you get several pages about a planet's general alignment with associated creatures, deities, planes, and a list of pre-existing worlds. There's info to tell you how to run an adventure on a high, medium, or low magic world, and the same thing for religion and technology. Now, if you want a shortcut on creating random worlds, you can use this, the Starfinder deck of many worlds that uses the same factors here to help you quickly develop a random world when you need it in-game. We haven't done a full review of this deck yet, so if you're interested in that, let me know in the doohickey down below. Now, the last part of the book gives you a big old toolbox for running sandboxy Starfinder campaigns. You get advice on how to set the scope of your adventure, how to help the players develop a home base to anchor the campaign, how to safely advance the scope of the exploration, and set secrets and story hooks for them to find, and how to mingle the science fiction and the fantasy elements into your story, and finally, how to build a whole sandbox campaign. There is some really useful information here for those of you who want to learn more about creating your own engaging adventures or just improve your own storytelling skills. There is a lot about creating compelling RPG stories, and good guides are surprisingly few and far between. There's even specific info on how to put your story into a subgenre like cyberpunk, hard science fiction, high science fantasy, military, parallel worlds, planetary survival, post-apocalyptic, space western, or even time travel. Finally, there are a ton of tables to get random drift encounters, build NPCs, build settlements, make starships, and generate treasure, all those GM tools that you need. So yeah, whew. This book packs in a lot of galaxy building info and new player options. I think it's especially useful for those folks who want to homebrew their own campaigns, but it also helps you get a better sense of the Starfinder universe in general to really flesh out your storytelling. When you understand various societies based on the factors included in this book, it should help make sure that when your players visit an alien world, you're able to set the scene so they really feel like they're on a strange new world unlike anything they've seen before. And remember, the new Adventure Path Horizons of the Vast looks to be a great adventure path to try out a lot of these new rules from the comfort of a professionally written adventure. This book is awesome and maybe my favorite Starfinder book yet, definitely worth checking out. The hardcover has an MSRP of $39.99. You can also get the PDF version for $9.99 on Paizo.com. It's also available on Fantasy Grounds for $39.99, and the new player options are available on Hero Lab for $12.99. That doesn't include the whole book, but it does include the 122 new class options, 100 gear options, 16 feats, 6 creature companions, 8 spells, and 2 vehicles. And finally, the Deck of Many Worlds has an MSRP of $19.99, and all of this is available now. Let me know what you think about it and how your Starfinder adventures are going in the comment section below. Now, you have to check out Hit Point Press and the new series of animated spell cards they have. These extremely cool 5e reference cards can add some pizzazz to your sessions while streamlining gameplay. They have spell cards for all levels with some awesome animation on the front and all the rules and info you need on the back. When these cards are available at your table, everyone is going to want to be a caster. They also have cards for townsfolk, for conditions, and some blank cards with some cool animations on the front that has a blank back that you can use for homebrew spells or even non-open gaming license spells. They have pre-order deals available now for a limited time only. Check them out at animatedspells.com. And thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it by clicking that little thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel to see our future Starfinder, Pathfinder, and D&D content and some early Kickstarter previews. You can get some merch at gallantgoblin.com/shop, and you can join our Discord server using the link below. You can also catch us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For now, stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.